أنا في منطقة العليا، يمكن سامعين حولي شوية أصوات بوليس وهذا، إن شاء الله ما تكون عاملة إزعاج بس.
لا يعني ما في مشكلة. احنا الآن لايف على اليوتيوب so that the session is recorded automatically.
جميل.
طيب نبدأ مهندس أسامة.
طيب تمام.
So let me introduce you and then يعني you can take it from there. Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So hello everyone and welcome to the first seminar in a new series of seminars that we call Open Dialogue with COE Alumni. We have with us today Mr. Osama Al-Haj Isa. He is the COO of FutureX Technologies company, and he graduated from KFUBM, and he was among the first batch who graduated from the COE department. Osama worked with top IT companies such as Microsoft, Cisco, Dell, and HPE. Osama's career has been in the field of technical sales, managerial position, and he is loyal to KFUBM, just like every other alumnus who's loyal to KFUBM. Osama also keeps contact with his other alumni and professor since he graduated more than 30 years ago. And by the way, Osama and Dr. Ayman are from the same batch, the first batch that joined the COE department. So they are very close friends. So Osama, I leave the floor for you now.
Thank you, Yahya, صح?
Yahya, نعم.
Thank you, Yahya. Thanks, Dr. Ayman and everyone here. I'm really honored to be selected. I just knew it's the first one in the series. I'm really honored to be the first to talk and to reconnect with KFUBM and with the students. I am one of the people who love the university period. I speak to many people. Some people don't like university. I love university. It was one of the best periods in my life. I can tell you when I was in KFUBM and I came to the senior year and then master's, I was thinking that I should stay all my life in KFUBM. I thought that I don't want to leave KFUBM, and it was a struggle for me to get out. It was like, you know, the comfort zone or a safe place, but life continued, and I moved to the commercial part of the I would say life or business. Many of my colleagues, like Dr. Ayman, continue their PhDs and their academic life and did, mashallah, very successful career. I know tens of people who are in worldwide positions out of KFUBM and really made it. So when Dr. Ayman asked me and Yahya, you approached me for this talk, I thought that it's a duty on me to give back at least some of my thoughts, some of my experiences to this respected team. MashaAllah, I see around 20, 30 people. And tell you guys that KFUBM is really, really different. Until today, I'm getting in touch with graduates from KFUBM, and I find them different. I think the nature of Al Jabal, the nature of, I don't know, the food, the close proximity that you live together makes this people tough people. KFUBMers are tough. They are not, I would say, the soft people. They are not the people who are used to getting things easy. In KFUBM, you get things with your brain, but also with your muscles, your brain muscles, I would say, and that makes you distinguished. And I've seen that, I would say maybe 95% of people I know from KFUBM are successful, mashallah. For success, I'm talking about career. On a personal advice, you need to think about also your personal life. If you get married, if you have family, parents, you need to make it balanced. So most of my talk today will be about career and about companies, because that's what I did. I didn't go to the academy, but also from life advice. I don't know how many years older than you, maybe more than 5 years older than you, okay? Much more than 5 years, okay?
Yeah.
But you need to have a balanced life. Don't think only of career and money and positions or academy. You need to think about your families, whether your smaller families or your bigger families, and your community and your country and the whole world. You need to give and take, but be thankful, be always thinking about the big picture. And that's something that I found also with KFUB that they go with a vision. They don't just go and try things. I think because of the serious nature of the university, people start thinking more serious and at higher level. Now, I bought some points, and by the way, the ad did not come to me from anyone, but it came to me from my son. My son is a mechanical engineer. He studied in Jordan, in the University of Jordan Science and Technology. It is respectful like KFUBM, especially in engineering. Now, my son, peers and colleagues shared this with him, and it came to me from him. So the points, I think you have seen the points. The first point is, I'm not a specialist on really to give an advice, whether you go for the academy life or the work life, but I would say that there is a decision point. If you are not sure about the mix here, but since you are all in college, in COE, I mean, you should be in third or fourth year, the last year or the year before, I would say that you start making these decisions now. Do I need to continue with my master's? Do I love research and I want to do more for the academy life? I consider that people who go into research, PhDs, and start making impactful research that result into products and manufacturing in the country. It's very easy for any one of you guys to get, you can go to the US if you want, you do your PhDs and come back. And you can do it in KFUM, but what matters is to come back to the country, come back to the region, and your research should translate into a solution for the area, whether a product or a technology or something. We are computer engineers, so this means we help our countries and our regions. And this is better than, from my viewpoint, than going to the US, do something great with Lockheed Martin or Boeing or any of the biggest companies in the world, because we want these brains, we want this strong thing that we got from KFUM to stay here. I would say, if not all, most, okay? And if you are smart, you can do both. If you have interest to be in the US, you can still give your country back. So you have a first decision now to whether you'll continue or you will go to the work life. And as I said, continuing means you think about making something useful and producing some research that translate into a technology that help the country. Now, Saudi Arabia is very big into industry, into many of the advanced IT fields. And I think you are lucky because the country is at this stage and you are at the graduation stage. So you can do I would say, a match for what you like to do with what the country is going through. Let me share this thing that I have. I didn't share much. It's just the first point on where are the KFUBMers. I wanted to share this with you. So I went to, if you see my screen here, I went to my contacts, okay? And I searched for KFUBM. And I looked for people in the region here, still in the region. I can also add Mecca, okay? And I looked at my first level contacts. So these are my colleagues, okay? So one of my colleagues, Salman Faqih, he is the top guy in Cisco Saudi Arabia. Nael Ghanem, Ihab is CEO. I will not mention names, but you'll see that all these guys are taking very strong. This guy is head of global marketing, which means worldwide, okay? Dr. Khaled Daher, Ayman, you know Dr. Khaled. He was a research assistant when we were studying, and he teaches us a few courses, and so on. So you see all the names, all these guys are really in very good places, Microsoft, CEOs, and so on. So I can go randomly. I'm proud of everyone that I know from KFUBM. All of these colleagues are really at good positions. Hani, Allah yarhamu, he's deceased a few years ago, but it says LinkedIn is still there. As you see, Mohammed Tamimi, he is our governor. Yahya Abdurrahman. Yahya is much older than us. Yahya was the CIO of Saudi Electricity Company. Sulaiman Abu Yahya, maybe you know Sulaiman Ayman. He was our batch. And so on. So the point is, what I wanted to tell you is that each one of you can be like this and more. It's just a matter of focusing. It's just a matter of building your life plan, your career plan. What do you want to do, and become one of those, maybe better, and continue. The life continues, and you can always be proud that you are coming from KFUBM. Be like one of these guys, or like Dr. Ayman, mashallah, very distinguished people, and have your way. So now, if I will focus more in the rest of this discussion on the career part, this is where I can give more advice. Now, also for career, you can have a roadmap, or you can have a decision to make. Do I want to go into a technical job, or do I want to go into a more sales or managerial job? Now, having studied for 4 or 5 years in KFUBM, took all these courses, everything that has to do with computer engineering, some electrical engineering, logic, programming, all of that, I think that it's best that you start your career, your life, with a technical job. And it can be multiple things, I'll tell you about them, but basically going for a technical job will solidify what you have studied. Guys, if you want to ask me anything, if you want to stop me, please feel free. Okay, I may be wrong as well, so you can challenge me. I'm okay.
But the thing, we're going to have the Q&A at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So the point is, in a technical capacity, if you go for a technical capacity, you preserve what you have studied in KFUBM and graduated from this top university in Saudi Arabia. So you need to do this for at least 3 years, better to do it for 5 years. Then all what you have got from networking, security, whatever systems, servers, storage, anything that you have looked at during your study, you'll find it in real life. You'll touch it, you'll feel it, you'll design it, you will operate it, you'll configure it, you'll manage it for the customers or for your companies, and you'll find that you start comparing what you have studied and what you have, what you see in the field. Now, even if you want to continue, it's also good. I mean, continue studying. It's also good to take 1 or 2 years of practical experience and go back, especially if you do some business-related study, going to the field, going to the corporate or government job. If you go back and do some MBA or some business major in the masters and PhDs, the work in the field gives you a lot of different exposure that you need, because you need both. It's like, you know, this kind of glue where you mix the white and the black, it becomes solid. I would say studying in the university and working You mix the two, you have now a solid experience and a solid thing that you can build on. So again, at the beginning, it's always advised, and this is in computer engineering or any kind of engineering field, my advice is to start with a technical job, even if your passion is to go into non-technical job. What are the non-technical jobs? Mainly for a fresh graduate, non-technical job, or a graduate with a few years of experience. Non-technical job means going into sales or management. If you can go to management for any reason, for example, a family business, or you got some talent and somebody puts you in a management position, that's okay, that's good. And it may put you on a fast track to grow in a managerial track. Some companies, I remember like Procter & Gamble, they used to have something called fast track VP. So in about 6 years, you become a vice president of Procter & Gamble. This is a very good, I would say, opportunity that anyone can get, but there isn't many like this, okay? So usually you need to think about moving in your career in steady steps. And if you go to a government or corporate, usually you need to spend 1 to 2 years in every position that you take until you change. Because if you spend less than that, then you don't get any real experience in that position. You need 3 to 6 months until you are familiarized with what needs to be done. Then in the next 6 months and the next year, you start giving back, like contributing to what the organization that hired you need from you. And then maybe after 2 years, you may take additional responsibility or change job. And it's not bad to change jobs at the early stages, but don't change them too fast, because if you jump too many times, let's say after 10 years, somebody looks at your CV and find that you do so many changes, they will say, this guy knows nothing. He didn't stay more than 1 or 2 years in any place, which means maybe he was not successful. Maybe people did not keep him because he wasn't doing well. So you need to have some longer period when you go to these jobs. And to go back to focus on whether you go for a technical or non-technical job, I talked a little bit about technical. Now, non-technical, one of the important things that's good, and I would advise you after all of my career to consider, is to go for a sales job. Not sure if everyone will agree with me here, but sales jobs are good, especially if you want to make money. Most of the money goes in the sales job. Now, it's a very, very tough job. It's much more tough than an engineering job. In sales, there is something called target. If you have heard about target, like somebody hires you and tells you need to make 10 million riyals every year. Making 10 million riyals of customer business every year is not an easy thing, or 5 million, or any number, okay? And there will be monthly and quarterly reviews. And if you don't do your target for maybe 6 months or more, maybe you get fired. So the sales job has a lot of, I would say, high income if you are successful on it, but also has a lot of high pressure and risk. However, the successful people in sales usually go into more or higher positions, and usually people from sales, I would say, just rule of thumb from my side, 50% of, if you go to management in most of the companies, you'll find that they are coming from sales background. Where's the other 50% from? From everywhere else. They may be coming from finance, they may be coming from legal, they may be coming from academic, they may be coming from anything else. But you will find that, especially in the corporate, not in the government, most of the time, people going to the top positions, GMs and CEOs and vice presidents, are coming from sales. Why? Because especially in corporates try to make more money. They try to make more profit because this is their number one objective. They put salespeople on top because these people are the ones who can help these companies to meet their financial targets. So sales is not a bad idea, but again, please don't jump immediately next year. Give it some time, 3 years minimum, I would say 5 years better. So you can, if somebody challenge you on anything about what are the OSI layers or what is the what happens in the data link layer or what happens here or there, you can go and answer the question confidently. You don't just leave university, you wash out all what you have learned. It's a big loss. You need to preserve this good learning that you got. So this is a on the kind of jobs that you may target. I want to move to the marketplace. Now, as I said, you can go for a government job, and in Saudi Arabia, the government jobs are very good, very respectable, and good pay. Or you can go to corporates and companies. And again, there are two types of companies. There are local companies and there are global companies. Both are good. I would say if you want to target in the local companies, target companies who are related to the vision. Anything that is related to Vision 2030 will be a good place to work at. And especially if these companies belong to BEF. You know what is BEF, correct? Pension Investment Fund, صندوق السيادي السعودي. Okay, this is a very good place to be at because they take very good care of the people. There is the positions there are usually they get good income, and these BEF companies are doing very big things. They are going into, for example, renewable energy. They are going into AI. They are going into IoT. They are going into like very, very advanced things. Look at what's happening in NEOM, and you see what I mean. Okay, NEOM itself is a good place to target if you can get a place there, for example. But you need to live in NEOM itself. Usually, any hires in NEOM now, they ask them to be in NEOM physically. So locally, as I told you, you can either go for a government job or one of these corporates, or any of the strong companies like SABIC, like Aramco, like Tasniع, like Ma'aden, like Marafiq, like Miantit. These are good places you can target for jobs if you are looking for this type of companies. Now, the other ones are the global companies. And I worked for, I would say, close to 30 years in these global companies. I worked first with HP for about 6 years. And at that time, I built for Aramco. I was HP employee. I built for Aramco their network management system. So in 2 projects, it took me 4 years to complete 2 projects to fully manage Aramco network worldwide from Dhahran. Okay, I was living in a small, in a data center in Aramco, almost freezing room. So in the summer, temperature outside was 50 degrees. I was wearing my jackets and everything because that room was freezing. So I spent there long time, but alhamdulillah, this was one of the best things that I'm proud of. At the first project, I was one of the teams. I was a professional services consultant. In the second project that I finished in 1998, I was a project manager and consultant, and it was a very good thing that Aramco is still using until today to manage their IB network worldwide. Then after that, I moved to Microsoft. All that time, I was in Khobar Dammam, 98 to 2000. Then I moved in 2000 to Riyadh with Microsoft. I worked a lot on Active Directory. Do you know Active Directory, guys? Anyone knows Active Directory? As computer engineers, I would assume that you need to know Active Directory. Thank you for those who responded. Anyways, I was doing I would say not the software side of Microsoft. I was doing more the system side of Microsoft, including SQL Server. I was certified on SQL. And when I left Microsoft in 2004, it was the last time I was doing technical job From there, I moved to sales and marketing and channel management and management jobs with companies like EMC. It was and still the top engineering company in storage systems. Then I moved to Cisco, and the last job I was doing with international company was with HPE. I was managing Middle East, Turkey, and Africa for HPE in the networking business. And since the beginning of this year, I'm with a company that is into digital transformation. I listed these companies for you as examples of worldwide companies who has presence in Saudi Arabia, but there are many, many others, okay? Every one of the names I mentioned has like 5 to 10 competitors, and you'll find them here. You'll find them in Saudi, you'll find them in Dubai. Now with the new rules that companies need to have headquarters in Saudi by the year 2024, I'm sure that the opportunities will explode, and you'll find even better chances and better opportunities. By the way, you are welcome. Every one of you is welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to ask me questions after this, I'm very welcoming every one of you. And hopefully, maybe we'll be working together somewhere in the future if you go to the corporate life. So the thing is, the marketplace has for computer engineers, these companies in IT, I would say companies in networking, companies in storage, companies who are focusing today in IoT, and you'll find that companies like Amazon focusing on IoT. You'll find that companies like Google is focusing on IoT. So it doesn't have to be a pure hardware company, so that you can find an opportunity with them. Many of the big corporates today are going to a mix of engineering and, I would say, computer science business, including Microsoft, including Google, everyone. Microsoft has a lot of hardware products. You know about Microsoft Surface, for example, and all the Xbox and stuff. This is all engineering that needs engineers like you. Okay. So this is on the corporates. This is on the life. If you want to ask me advices in the future, you can ask me advices about companies. I think whatever I can help with, I will help with. This is the least I can give back to my beloved university. So the point before last are keys to succeed in the job. Maybe each one of you or many of you saw that thing with letters ATTIUDE, attitude, okay? I would say I agree with this. Attitude is very important for succeeding with the job. What kind of attitude do you need? You need to have an open attitude. You need to have a smile. You need to have willingness to learn. You need to have a mentality who's willing to change. The worst thing in the job, and I would say in the life, is to say, I am like this. I can't change. Believe me, those are the people who fail. People who say, I am like this and I don't change. These are the only examples of people that I'm aware of now who failed and did not do it in life and in business. But in business, we have a very famous say, the only constant is what? Change. This is the only constant in business. And this means you need to change yourself, change how you think. Does not mean give up on your ethics, okay? I'm not asking you to change, do bad things. Don't accept bad things. I'm saying that I'm used, for example, to think about networking, that networking is a bad field, okay? Maybe it's bad field, or security is not good. If you are not willing to open up and think differently about your business beliefs, then you will be living in a very, I would say, black box, or in a very small place that you put yourself in, and you cannot go beyond it. So it's very important to be able to change, to think widely, think open, have an open-minded, keep your ethics. Don't change your ethics. Ethics are ethics. Things that your parents taught you, and you know from your religion, that you know from your a'raf. What is a'raf in English? Your society norms. These are good things. I'm not asking you to change these, but change the things that are valuable in the business, okay? So to succeed in business, you need to have an open mind, a right attitude, smile, willingness to learn, and appetite and passion. What do I mean by appetite and passion? You need to have appetite to grow. If I have 2 employees in my company, one is coming, like both are coming, I would say, full hours, 9 to 6 every day, or 8 to 5 or whatever. One is very active and he wants to change, he wants to contribute. He comes to me with ideas, even if they are wrong ideas, but he wants this to succeed. He shows passion. He shows that I want to improve personally, and the company, I want the business to improve. These are the people who succeed in their career. People who really has fire under them, and they believe in what they do, and they want things to be always better. And this is an issue with the corporate life, that corporate life is always trying to grow. They don't stand still. If they do X this year, next year they want to do X plus 15% of X, and so on, the year after and after and after. So people like this, who are willing to give more and contribute more and more passionate, are the ones who succeed with everything else that I have mentioned. But also there is discipline. You cannot be undisciplined and succeed in the job. If you come every day around noon to job, if you are the superhero and the best person, believe me, you'll be fired after some time. Okay, so discipline is important. Discipline in responding to your emails. You know, email today is very important tool in the business life. Now we are using also WhatsApp, we are using other mechanisms, but discipline means that if there is something that is expected from you at a certain time, at a certain day, you have to do it, okay? Including coming to work and leaving on time, yeah? And to be responsive. People who are more responsive are more likely to be approached by others, because if I know I want to buy a car, okay, and I go to 5 agencies, and one of the guys in one of the agencies, every second I ask him a question: what is the maximum speed? How much does it spend per gallon? Blah blah. The one who gives me more answers, even if he's like 2, 3, 4,000 riyals more than somebody else, I may go to that guy because I know he will help me. When I'm in trouble, he will help me. Same in the work. Being more responsive is also helpful in succeeding in the career. Now, I'd like to move to last point. If you are considering both going to academy or going to work, you need to have a good CV or an excellent CV or a perfect CV. First, you need to know that you need a CV. So start, if you're in graduation stage, start writing your CV and think of the CV content very seriously. You can take templates, okay? It's good to take templates and convert them. But there are certain sections in the CV that you need to include about yourself, your contacts. It's very important. Some people mess to put their contacts, which is considered unprofessional. So you need to put your contacts. You need to put your objective. What do you want to do? I want to complete my PhD in computer engineering, IoT field, for example, okay? So you need to have an objective. Then you need to list in your CVs your experiences. Now, as a fresh graduate, you may think I don't have experiences, but I can tell you that that's wrong, okay? One of the best hires I had in my life, someone that I hired was a fresh graduate, but when he submitted his CV to me, he had like 4 or 5 certifications. At that time, it was from Microsoft. And I thought that he either faked them or he bought them or let somebody take the exams on his behalf. But I challenged him on coming and presenting to me some of the ideas that he's certified with, and he proved to me that he did it. And he got a job in Microsoft. He was a fresh graduate out directly from college. He got a Microsoft job, which is a lifetime opportunity. This guy was very brilliant. After that, he worked with STC, and he led huge products of STC. I will not mention the products, but he is behind two of the top selling products in STC. And these products are not like just a mobile or something small. These products include data centers, include huge software and applications that every one of us use. Okay, so in the CV, you need to have something like, if you are part of computer club, you include that. If you did some charity work, you include that. If you did some community service, included. But the best thing is to include certifications or courses that you have attended extracurricular. It's not enough to have only what you have studied in university. Try always to include something more, something on top, because this shows me, if I want to hire you, that Abdul Karim, for example, compared to Omar or Sayed or Ahmed, here I'm just reading names, did some more work. He was ready to take an extra duty while he was taking exams and preparing to graduate, but he was thinking that I need to succeed in my job, so I'll do this extra certification. I hope you got the idea, okay? So in the CV, you need to be structured, but also try to include something extra, whether from community, charity, the senior project is always good to include, or other projects. Also, if you are the kind of people who work in the summer, include this. It's very important. Include it in the CV that you worked in McDonald's, you worked in with your dad in a real estate office, you worked with your uncle and I don't know what. It's good. Mention that in the CV. Don't feel that I'm a computer engineer. Does not make sense that I mention I was in a grocery. No, it's good, because people will see some talents in you and will read it differently, that it's not a shame that you are a computer engineer and at the same time you did something and I don't know what. Does not hurt at all. It's a good thing, mention it. Okay. Also have a profile in LinkedIn. I can tell you that you will never get a job from LinkedIn. I would say maybe 1% of people get jobs on LinkedIn. But whenever you apply for a job, people will go and check on you on LinkedIn, and will check not only on you, they'll check also on your connections. Okay, so they'll see that, okay, Mubashir here, I see Mubashir Ahmed, for example, is on LinkedIn. His profile is fresh graduate, maybe he did some certification, but I know that Mubashir is connected to somebody who's my friend. Okay, so I call this somebody and ask him, how's Mubashir? Sorry to back on you, Mubashir, okay, but I'll make it positive. So how's Mubashir? This friend, he'll tell me, oh, Mubashir is very active, Mubashir is smart, Mubashir is 4-point student, you should hire him. Now, Mubashir is one candidate for me that I may hire, and I have somebody else at third and fourth. Now, Mubashir has an advantage. Why? Because I checked his LinkedIn profile and I could ask some extra questions. So at the beginning, your profile on LinkedIn may be slim, maybe not that strong, but have it and maintain it. Don't waste time on Facebook or Snapchat because these will not help you in the business, unless if your business, you use Snapchat or Instagram as one of your business channels, then that's a different story. But for business, use LinkedIn. It's the top tool, the main tool. There are others in the region like Byte.com, Glassdoor, and others, but I can tell you that the top one is LinkedIn, and there is a lot of things that can happen on LinkedIn. Again, you will not get hired just by applying on LinkedIn jobs, but you may get lucky. So I think I covered most of what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope it was useful to you, if not all of it, some of it. And I'll stop now, and maybe if you want to ask questions or move it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Osama. I think the stories and the experience that you have shared with us is great, and I think the student, I'm sure that they appreciate that, and I'm sure that they will walk away with some good lessons. So now we have about 17 minutes for Q&A. And before people are like, they started posting their questions. There is a question that came to me like on the private channel that, so you are and Dr. Ayman are from the same batch, right?
Correct.
صحيح إنه كان يرفع الأفرج عليكم دائما? I have to ask this question.
Don't remind me of this. يعني it was very difficult to compete with Ayman. Impossible, not difficult. Okay.
يعني كان دافور الدفعة صحيح؟ كان دافور الدفعة.
Look, I am an honor student, but not like Dr. Ayman.
ما شاء الله.
There is a big difference.
Good. So we are lucky to have him as our chairman.
For sure. For sure.
So that's great. Okay. So we have one question here from Muhammad Al-Shargi. He said that if I want to take the master, do you recommend that I first work for 2 or 3 years, or I go for master and then I go to apply for a job?
Muhammad and everyone, if you love to do your masters, please hold to it. Don't lose this dream or this passion. It's a very good thing to do. It's very, very good. But from recommendation, yes, I would say do 1 to 2 years, not 3 years, because in 3 years you may start forgetting and lose contact and start losing your dream. 1 or 2 years. And in these 2 years, you can start doing some communication with the universities, with their KFM or outside. Start applying in the 2nd year or the 1st year. But it's good to see real life. So my answer is yes. Do it after 1 or 2 years. Maybe 3 years is too long. Yeah.
Right. Now, this is like a follow-up from Muhammad also. He said that, should I take the master on something outside my major like business, or I stick to my major? And by the way, Muhandis Osama, I think you are familiar with some of the new things that we have at KFUBM, the new master, professional master. So now we have, before it used to be the classical master program in addition to MBA. Now we have more. So what would be your advice for Muhammad and the others?
So look, if you want to continue your academic life, go into research, finish your PhD, then do it on this specialization. Does not have to be computer engineering. You can continue in something else, part of a computer science, or maybe biomedical or something. It doesn't have to be always computer engineering. But if you want to take it to strengthen your career profile, then does not have to be. It can be in computer engineering or business, or one of these new they call it experience. What is it? CX or something like
MX. Yeah, professional master.
Yes,
and there is that's for the master, and there is the undergrad, the CX, اللي هو مسار. We call it مسار.
Yes. So for the masters, if you want to go into the professional life careers, you can take the MX or computer engineering or business. It's open. And again, if you have a family business, for example, you want to be part of your family business, maybe it's a good idea to do an MBA. Okay. If you want to go into I'll give you an example. There is something called SAMI here. If you know SAMI is the Saudi military industry. Okay. It's a very advanced industry, or AEC, which is now acquired by SAMI, Advanced Electronics. If you want to go to one of these companies and be part of it, then maybe it's a good idea to do a computer engineering master's, because there you can go and contribute. Okay, so it depends what you want to do, where you plan to go, if you know, and based on that, do your master's.
Okay, we have a question from Khalid Zahrani. He says, What kind of mistake students make in their CV? From your experience, what are the common mistakes that students make when they prepare their CVs, especially the fresh graduate?
Yeah, don't make it too colorful and don't make it dull. Okay, the sections of a CV should be there. You need to include your personal information, like your name and contact mainly. This is what's called in the personal information. Contact is your mobile or phone and email. You need to include your objective, experiences I mentioned, and certifications. Also, you need to mention that you are from KFUBM. It's a very good thing to mention. Some people try to make it long. Don't make it long. One page is good enough for a graduate, okay? Unless if you have something really serious that you want to mention. Don't list courses because anyone can go and find out what courses a computer engineer has, okay? Mention things that you did outside the university. That's
okay.
It.
This is a question from Maad al-Subhi. You did comment on the importance of MX, but I want to go back to this MX because you know, right now it's 1 year. We heard that they might extend it to 1.5 or 2 years, but do you still recommend that the MX? Do you think it's a good investment towards a fruitful career?
I think yes. I think I saw all the specializations. They are all good, really cutting edge, if we can say that, or state of the art solutions technologies. I believe they are very good. Yes.
Okay, طيب. We have a question from Abdul Karim. He will use the mic. Go ahead, Abdul Karim. Unmute yourself.
السلام عليكم.
السلام ورحمة الله.
يعطيك العافية Mr. Osama for your time. Really appreciate your knowledge to share it with us. And thank you, Dr. Yahya and Dr. Ayman, to organize this event. So actually, you mentioned it's better to start with technical job at the first few years to build our background, then move to the sales. But as you know, the sales there are stages of sales, from sales, pre-sales, and after sales. So what do you think as a fresh grad to start with, pre-sales or post-sales?
Good question. I love the question, Abdul Karim. Thank you. Actually, pre-sales and post-sales are technical jobs. They have a sales in the name, but they are both technical jobs. If you want my honest advice, go for a pre-sales job, okay? Now, post-sales, you may sink in it for 20, 30 years and you find yourself not getting out of configuring systems and changing parameters and stuff like that. If you want a very quiet life, some people are like this. They don't want to go to challenges. They don't want to go to risk, okay? Go for a post-sales. Post-sales, you will live with the systems you can like spend all your career until you retire and you do post-sales. So if you want a very quiet life, and some people like that, go for a post-sale. They call it services, okay? Computer services or IT services. If you want an active, challenging life, growth in the career, going up in the hierarchy, the best technical job at the beginning will be in the pre-sales.
Okay, thank you.
But there are other technical jobs for sure.
Yeah. We have an interesting question here from a gentleman whose name is FA. He says, if I want to specialize in protecting a company's network, is computer engineering a correct path for me or computer science? Now, I want you, Mr. Osama, to reflect back on your the history of your career, because you selected computer engineering, and I think at that time, computer science was also available for you as an option.
Yeah. Actually, no, computer science was available before. Computer engineering is the new thing that happened at our time. Yeah. Computer engineering was part of EE, electrical engineering, but it was like few courses at the last semester. So yes, the computer science was an option. By the way, I started electrical engineering, but I did a course with Ayoub al-Muhtasib. Is Ayoub still in the university?
I'm not sure, Dr. Ayman.
He was the registrar. He left, huh?
Yeah, I think he left. Dr. Ayoub al-Muhtasib.
Yes, Dr. Ayub. So Dr. Ayub convinced me that I took a Fortran course with him. If anyone knows what's Fortran, it's one of the old programming languages. And I got the highest. Ayman was not with us. That's why I got the highest of that. Okay. So Ayub told me, Osama, you should not do AE, you should move to computer engineering. And he convinced me, actually. So yes, now back to the question. Computer security is, I consider it part of computer engineering, not part of computer science. However, some fields of computer security, like information security, may go under computer science, okay? But if you talk about computer security in the meaning of network security or system security, it's closer to a computer engineering. Actually, my son is now studying computer cybersecurity, not in KFUBM, but he's in a computer science department.
Oh, okay. Right. Shabab, please go ahead, post your question or raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to ask the questions myself. So, okay, we have Abdul Karim again. Abdul Karim, is that from an old hand or you have a question?
لا, a new question.
Go ahead.
Since you mentioned فرق بين التكنيكال والنون تكنيكال, so from your point of view, Mr. Osama, what do you think about management consulting or technical consulting?
Now, technical consulting means huge.
Like BW,
yes,
like
yes.
WS. Okay, you get that.
Yeah, honestly, Abdul Karim, I don't understand how somebody without prior experience can go to a consulting job. Unless if these guys take you, train you for 1 or 2 years, which is an option, okay? Now, it's a good thing. These companies are very good, and I would advise you to take a job with them if they offer you one. However, you will need good amount of time to have the title of a consultant, even an associate or a junior consultant, because you need to have something inside. And consulting is about telling people how to do things best. So you go to somebody else as a consultant, you tell them you are doing it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need to do now 3 first, then don't do 2, and then add 6, 7, and 8, something like this. So it's a good career, it's a good option, and you cannot do it at the beginning. Usually, you can be a consultant after some time and do the consulting as I described. Did I address your question, Karim, or did I not?
Yes. بس حاليا بعض الشركات مثل Big 3 وال Big 4 they take fresh grad in consulting.
That's good. That's a good opportunity. Go for it. It's a good opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Tamim, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Is it okay if I have a comment, not a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Tamim. I am a graduate from COE from 2008. And I just would like to comment that in any major, I think any student should not be thinking that when he goes to any major, he will be limited to his major after for work. I am talking from my personal experience. After I graduated from COE, I continued a master in electrical engineering in communication. And then after I finished, I got the job in more related to control or power in electrical power. And right now I am working in a software company as a business development responsible. So just my comment for all the students and my advice, don't limit yourself. Always think about getting the best out of your current years. And be open, for the things that you have.
Okay, thank you.
I would agree with you 100%.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Khalid, go ahead. Khalid, unmute yourself.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
I'm going to be straightforward in my question. My question is, I'm not sure if he mentioned it or not because I came a little bit late, but I will ask it anyway. Mr. Osama, do you think having an under average GPA will limit the individual from having a successful job? Or
Not at all.
any kind?
Not at all. Not at all. Don't worry about it. Graduate, Khaled and everyone, nobody asks you about your GPA. None. Now, as a fresh graduate, you may face this, but if you remember the thing that I told you about at the beginning, keys to succeed, trust me, if you go to the interview with a smile, with an open mind, it will be much more important than people evaluate. This is I would say 5% of the evaluation of a candidate. Okay, it's much more than your GPA. I'm not asking you to don't run for the A's and A pluses and high grades. So Dr. Ayman will be angry with me, but your other things are important. And look, maybe as fresh graduate, you may be asked this question, but the second job and third job, nobody will ask. And guess what? Nobody will even ask you for your graduation certificate. Nobody. Now, some companies do something called background check. They ask for the certificates, but people care more about experience. I didn't work in a government job. I'm not commenting if government is different, but in the corporate, doesn't matter.
Okay, we have an important. Yeah, go ahead, Khalid. Continue.
The last question: do you think side activity, like participating in clubs, like not even in a computer engineering or computer science club, like in photography in a club or any other club, might help me? Is it possible?
It does. It does. It does. Now, should not distract you from completing your graduation, but it does help. And it all depends on positioning it, Khalid. Like if you think about it, when you are in a job interview and someone asks you, why do you specialize? Why did you select photography, for example? You tell them, I like to open my horizons, for example. I like to think about the animals. You need to have a nice answer that shows that you have a purpose. People like people with purpose, okay? So it should have a purpose, and then any hobby or anything extra you do will help you.
Okay, we have a follow-up comment from Faisal Hijazi. He said that from what he heard that HR usually use the GPA as the first filter when they filter the applications. So any comments?
No, not. I disagree, unfortunately, Faisal. From my experience, I heard, if not hundreds, I heard tens of people. I never asked or saw a GPA in a CV. Now, people who put the GPA in the CV are the 4 points only. Nobody else put their GPA in the CVs. Okay.
So we are at the end of the hour. So I would like to thank you again, Mr. Osama, on behalf of the student and the faculty. And I'm going to ask Dr. Ayman to thank you by himself and close the session. Dr. Ayman, تفضل.
Thank you, Osama, for an interesting session, and we are happy to see you again. And we wish that you actually visit us physically in person, that we can meet with you, inshallah, in the department. I'm sure this benefited from.
My pleasure. I'm really happy that I had this hour with you and with everyone, Dr. Yahya, the whole batch. Really glad that I talked with you. And I wish to see you, inshallah, in the best places في الدنيا والآخرة.
آمين يا رب. جزاكم الله خير جميعا إن شاء الله. And we'll see you يا شباب next week in another seminar with another guest from our alumni. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Thank you. Thank you.